Chief Technical Advisor of the United Nations Environment Program, a project here in the Gambia dubbed Climate Change Early Warning Systems Project. And then we have Environment, Mrs. Fatunde Gay. And we have just sitting right now, on my right again is Mr. is the Acting Director, Department of Forestry. And then last but not the least, of course, is on the right, Omar Jallo. He is the Director of the Department of Parks and Wildlife Management. Now, we want to talk, just said in the introduction, go straight to the Honorable Minister of Forestry and the Environment, Mrs. Fatu Ndeye, historic of the issue, and particularly as it affects the Gambia. Minister, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ismaila, and to everyone. Yes, climate change, the Gambian people, what climate change is all about. We have some for them. The public more. In this event, we are going to talk about what the Conference of Parties mean and what it means to the Gambia. The Conference of Parties and the Meeting of Parties. And we'll just start briefly from Copenhagen, going to Durban, going to Cancun and then Durban. Now we are on the way to Doha. In Copenhagen, we did not have much success, but what we had were the pledges that were made, the 30 billion that were made by the developed countries towards the developing countries. And we've also had the pledge of the 100 billion per year up to the year 2020. And on another note, there were pledges to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, which is causing the global warming all over. And then we went to Cancun. From there, we discussed. We were very much interested as an LDC, that's the least developed country, and as an African continent, because we need the finances to be able to take up our commitments, which are contained in the Convention of the United Nations framework. And this is what all the parties to that convention who have signed and ratified the conventions are obliged under the convention to carry out. Then we have the Kyoto Protocol, and this Kyoto Protocol calls on what parties who have signed and ratified the Kyoto Protocol, which went into force in 2005. And this is what the obligations of those countries in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And in the Gambia in particular, we have done our first national communications, which was presented to the UNFCCC in December 2003 in Milan. And the second national communications is already complete, which is supposed to be presented to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Doha this December. And one of the most important things is to inventorize what greenhouse gases are being caused in the Gambia. So this is the history, and we discuss, we negotiate. And when we say we are negotiating, with our partners. Our partners are those who are in the developed world, and we call them the Annex 1 parties. And we in the developing countries, we are the negotiating partners of the developed countries. And the Gambia negotiates under the LDC, it negotiates under the African group, and it also negotiates under the developing countries, which is G77 and China. The Gambia is chairing the least developed countries of 48 countries. These are the LDCs. And in that regard, we are hard. We've been hard over the years, but now we are even hard more. And we are also collaborating, and we are having bilaterals based on that, on that portfolio. Now in Cancun, what we had in Cancun in South Africa, that is COP17 and COP7. And we have had the establishment of the Green Climate Fund, which we negotiated in COP16 in Cancun. We've also had the adaptation committee, because as a developing country, as a country within the African continent, and as a country within the least developed countries, adaptation is our priority. We are not neglecting mitigation. We are not saying that mitigation is not important. We're also not saying that the carbon credits are not important. But adaptation is our priority, because we're already feeling what is happening. I mean, we have seen Katrina, we have seen Sandy in the US. The difference between the developed and the developing world is that we all suffer from climate change effects. But the difference is that they are able to adapt easily than us. Because if it goes here, let's say it starts now snowing in the Gambia, what will happen? Within the developed world, we have seen the changes that have happened over the years. They've not had those high temperatures before. But what happened is, immediately they adapted by putting in air conditioners and buying fans. And that's basic.
I know the Gambia has been doing very well on the international scene, like I understand. Our delegation had a standing ovation for our strong stance in support of the least developed countries, so that we have climate change projects and programs that really are meaningful to the lives of the people of these countries. Now, what would you tell me is the reason for that? What have we done nationally, in terms of uplifting our own portfolio, our own standing, and maybe also trying to make sure that in the international arena, the impact that we have there, we translate into strong actions in the Gambia?
Yes, this is what we have tried to do. And I must commend Bubu for that, because for me, everything that I've done and known, and we've been in the climate change committee with you for a long time, although right now I'm speaking at the political level, but I've been all along at the technical level, and I would thank him very much for that. And yes, we are doing at the international level and at the national level how it filters down. That is what we need to explain. Because like we are negotiating for the finances, which is our priority. International gap, financial gap between 2013 up to 2020 when it comes to finance. And this is very important for us when we go to Doha. Then at the international level, we negotiate really for finances that should come to the country. And right now, we have this early warning, which is an 8.9, and the other one is 8 million. We have also in the EU, with the assistance of the EU, we're developing this 3.8 coastal protection. I mean, that's the soft one, but the hard one is coming over. So there are, and in the pipeline, we have in the energy sector, in the pipeline for renewable energy and other energy uses. For example, in the area of wind and in the area of solar. We're working on that. So these are the issues, and maybe at that point of what we're doing at the country level. And then at the negotiation level, we negotiate with Jeff.